beards, geeks with beards. Look who's here, geeks with beards. No need to fear, we're right here. We got beards, so listen clear. Geeks with beards, geeks with beards. Look who's here, geeks with beards. No need to fear, we're right here. I'm in your ear, so listen clear. No one else doing it like us. Also, we just might cuss, just cause. No, we ain't playing, and we're just saying, and we're making a podcast. It's cool.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of the Geeks with Beards podcast. I'm your host, Dan, and my other host, Sean. How's it going, man?
Going good, you brother?
Yeah, pretty good. Read anything, watched anything last time since we were here?
I haven't got to read anything lately. I've listened to some more Star Wars books, and
yeah, I seen where you had that post on the Discord. Yeah, how's that?
It's going good. I'm going back to like the original Legends books that came out after. There was 91 when they started those, and the first trilogy focused on Thrawn.
Okay.
Like his debut and all that stuff.
Cool.
And it's interesting, like Han and Leia have 3 kids.
Together?
Yeah.
Okay. Deadpool had it right.
I mean, well, it would have made a better sequel, I can tell you that, because it's pretty interesting. Luke's like searching for, he's rebuilding the Jedi Order and that kind of stuff.
So timeline-wise, real quick, where does that fall? As like
I believe like 3 to 7 years after Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, somewhere around that area.
Okay, cool. For myself, man, I hadn't really been reading a whole lot of anything. Did start watching the CW's Superman and Lois series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never watched it when it first started airing, but since they're going to cancel after this last season, it's going to come on in October, I thought, well, I'll go back and catch it, see how good it is. I actually like it. It's really good, actually. It's a good take on Superman, I think. If anybody out there has watched it, you know, let us know, write in, let us know what you think about it. I like it. Tyler Hoechlin, he plays Superman, which, you know, he first showed up in the Supergirl series, that crossover, Infinite Earth crossover with all the shows. Done 2 seasons, there's going to be 4 total, and it's been good. He's fought Bizarro, a version of the Parasite. That was season 2. Season 1, I don't know much about Superman. You might know about it. He's got a stepbrother named Tal Rowe. Mm-hmm. Apparently, I guess Lara was, I don't know what the word is on Krypton, but I guess she was supposed to genetically make a kid with his father or something before she met Jor-El. Clark didn't know anything about it. So basically, in the first season, his plan is to take what he calls the Eradicator and take Kryptonian consciousness, how they got to Earth. I'm assuming when Krypton exploded, they came to Earth as well with Clark, and basically take what they call X-Kryptonite that is in the ground in Smallville, and everybody that's been exposed to it at Smallville has the ability to absorb the consciousness without rejecting it, because if they can't, then it'll kill them. So basically his plan is to turn Earth into a new Krypton by basically replacing the humans' consciousness with the Kryptonian ones.
Okay.
So, you know, it's kind of a quick little synopsis of the first 2 seasons. They've got 2 kids, 2 boys. One of the sons develops powers. So, you know, it's a CW thing. It's got your drama and your superhero stuff and well, you know. But overall, it's pretty good. So that's what I've been doing since the last episode.
Sounds interesting.
All right, everybody. This week, we're going to be covering He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse. We're going to be coming from you from the bowels of Castle Grayskull today, letting you know what's going to be going on in these books. Issue 1, we start out basically in space, and it lets you know a little bit about what we're going to be doing. The world is known as Eternia, the heart of the universe. You see Skeletor, looking at Castle Grayskull, like always, trying to break into Castle Grayskull, and using his Havoc staff, he's trying to attack it. We've got the Sorceress and Prince Adam inside, and basically Sorceress is like, you know, you just need to stay inside. Stay in here. And Prince Adam's like, I have to be the one that stops him. I'm the only one that has the power to stop him. Skeletor's basically telling him, if you don't come out, if you don't give me the power of Grayskull, then your family and everybody in Eternia is going to suffer for it. So Adam, this version of Adam, pulls out his power sword, tells the Sorceress, like, look, I have to. I've got to go out. Eternia needs me. transforms into He-Man. By the power of Grayskull, I have the power. He gets ready to go out to attack Skeletor. Skeletor turns around, and he's like, huh? Because somebody says his name, but it's not He-Man coming out of the castle that says it, though. So He-Man's approaching Skeletor, and when he sees Skeletor's dead. Skeletor's been impaled by his Havoc staff. And what you see standing above him is a very dark, evil-looking version of He-Man. This is anti-He-Man. He comes from the anti-universe, anti-Eternia, where basically the heroes of He-Man and Teela and Man-at-Arms and the other masters are evil versions of themselves. And Skeletor and Evil Lyn and Beastman and all those characters are the good guys. For our Transform fans out there, it's kind of what the Shattered Glass universe was like. This version of He-Man sees anti-He-Man standing above Skeletor after he's impaled him with his Havoc staff. Poor Skeletor. He-Man looks at him, he's like, you're me. And he's like, yeah, they all say that. He's like, let's get on with this. So He-Man comes at him, calls him a murderer, is going to attack him. Well, you don't see it, but what happens, but you see the sorceress, she starts to age, she starts to lose her power. And then you see anti-He-Man standing above the other He-Man, and he's holding both power swords. He's like, by the power of Hellskull, I have the power. And then he says, thank you, Prince Adam. And that begins our journey. And our journey is going to be anti-He-Man going around the different versions of He-Man, different cartoon versions, universes, obtaining the power of Grayskull, because he's got a big plan that he's wanting to do, and he's going to need all the different He-Mans and different powers to do it with.
Okay, so I have limited experience with He-Man. I know the movie, and then I know the I Love the 80s little meme they put out where he's staring awkwardly at the screen.
Yeah.
So, okay, when you say he's taking his power, he's taking the power from the sword.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because what it is, the power, as he says, by the power of Grayskull, the power is from Castle Grayskull, but his sword is a conduit.
Okay.
And it allows him to change into He-Man. And once he transforms to He-Man, the power goes from Grayskull to the power sword until he releases it back to the castle to become Adam again. So once he becomes He-Man, that's why anti-He-Man basically waits until he changes, takes the sword, even though he does kill He-Man, the power is still within that sword. And that way he can basically combine this He-Man's power with his own power to make him more powerful.
Okay. We didn't say who's writing.
Oh, we did not. I'm sorry about that.
You're good.
The writer is Tim Seeley. Pencils by Dan Fraga. Inks, Richard Friend. Colors, Matt Yackey. I think I said that right. Dan Fraga would be the artist.
Okay.
Fraga, how you pronounce that? Fraga. But I think you know some Tim Seeley stuff, I believe.
Yeah, he's done some Batman stuff I like and everything.
I think this is probably why this is my favorite Masters comic that DC did.
Makes sense. He's a good writer.
He is. He's really good.
And the artist, I think the artist did better than the writing in this book.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the Mr. Fraga unless it's something I've just, because I don't always pay attention to the artist names when I read books sometimes. You know, even though I've said in the past episodes that the art is kind of what helps catch me, I don't always remember the names of them, so I may have seen some of his stuff before and just don't remember. But so we'll continue, and now we're on another Eternia, the heart of the universe, and we see a young Keldor, Prince Keldor, and he is basically doing a little bit of spray painting on the walls of a building here, and he's standing beside Beastman, Red Beastman. If anybody knows the old vintage toys, there was a red version of the toy at one time. And he's also standing with Evil Lyn and Panthor.
Okay, so let me...
Panthro. Sorry, Panthro.
Well,
I get that in the Thundercats mixed up.
That's easy to do. Keldor, is he in the original cartoon?
Not in the original cartoon, but he did pop up in the mini comics, and he did get a little bit more of a story in the 2002 cartoon when Cartoon Network did it.
Okay.
He is Skeletor before he becomes Skeletor.
Okay,
he's King Randor's younger brother. Okay, so he is doing a little tagging on a wall here, kind of making fun of his brother, King Randor, and talking about, oh, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to get in trouble. And he says, well, this little piece of art will give Triclops and the Palace Guard something to do. He's like, this city needs a villain.
I got to say, before the pages you skipped, it's those, you ain't going to go back to it.
Oh, yeah.
I started reading that, I'm like, I didn't know they were going to put Dick Grayson in this comic.
Oh, the Snickers ad?
Yeah, I started reading that. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
I think each one of these issues has an ad in there of some sort.
They do.
I think.
I hate that when they do that. It just goes from like one comic to another comic in an ad. Yeah.
I don't know. Do they still do that in DC? Because I don't read DC anymore.
Well, they don't do it in Marvel right now. I don't remember the last DC book I picked up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know they still did it or not. Oh, and by the way, we didn't mention this. This is also, I believe, 2019 or 2020 when this came out. All right, next page over, we see Keldor, Beastman, and Evil Lyn grabbing their ears, and Screech shows up. And Screech also in the regular universe that we kind of know of is kind of an evil bird. It's an evil version, or an evil counterpart to Zor, which would be the sorceress. She would turn into the bird Zor so she could leave Castle Grayskull. But so Screech tells Keldor and the others that there's something going on at the castle, that they're needed there quickly. So he tries to jump on Panthro, and they ride off to go to the palace. And when we get to the palace, we see Triclops and Trapjaw, who are holding Tila, or anti-Tila, back by some chains. She's trying to attack Randor, and they show, and then Keldor shows up, and he's like, Captain Tila, in undisputed Eternos territory. It's a clear violation of the treaty with Dark Quarters. Oh my, what shall we do? And King Randor basically says that, hey, you know, it's nice for you to make a joke about all this stuff, but the evil warriors are hunting for us, and we're going to have to find a way to stop them. We're going to have to, you know, mount an attack. And so him and Keldor kind of get into an argument. And he takes him to the side, and he's like, look, undermining me in front of my men, what are you doing? He's like, I'm the king of Eternos, not you. And then Keldor kind of looks at him and he's like, yeah, thanks for reminding me. You know, thanks for reminding me you're the king. And
Rub it in, man.
Yeah, I know, man. Keldor tells me, he's like, well, look, he's like, maybe there's something unusual that's happening here. Perhaps now is the time to strike and save Eternia from the Dark Menace, you know, for justice, for revenge. He says, but if it isn't, you'll put what little we have at risk. Are you willing to let the city suffer, you know, for not acting? Randall kind of just looks at him, you know, closes his eyes. And Keldor keeps talking to him. He's like, you know, as your daughter, as your son, as your wife, we've saved who can be saved, brother. We are powerless. He's like, but we are alive. Randall tells him, he's like, look, take Tila, take her to the 3 cairns and drop her. And for the God's sake, fill her up on some vegetables first. I don't know why he said that, but okay. So, you know, they carry Keldor and them walk away. You see Triclops and Trapjaw walking her away, and before she leaves, she tells them, I have been to the bowels of Hellskull, before the orb of horrors. I have peered into the infinite universes contained within. In every one of those worlds, it's you who is the ultimate evil lord of destruction, Keldor. Triclops tells her to basically shut up. They walk away, and Keldor kind of just gives her a look like, huh, what? And all who see you will know the face of death. So we cut to Keldor's bedchambers, and he's in there with Lyn, Evil Lyn, and they're talking. And she's like, look, Keldor, even if what Tila says is true, if she's been into the blackest depths of Hellskull, her mind is broken. She has no idea what she's talking about. Keldor was just kind of off in his own, just thinking about what she said. And then Evil Lyn looks at him, he's like, it's Red Beast, isn't it? I see the way he looks at you. And Keldor's like, ha, I should be so lucky. Tomorrow, perhaps, I have a lesson in the morning. Basically, he's not in the mood. I think she is, but he's not. So she leaves him, and he's looking into the mirror and repeating to himself what Tila had told him. He's like, the face of death? Huh? What? And he sees a reflection behind him. He's like, He-Man. Grabs his sword, turns around, and he strikes at the image that he sees. And it's a little bitty He-Man.
Looking up He-Man.
Almost a little, I don't know what you would call it. He's just a little bitty feller.
It looks like a Japanese parody of He-Man.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Little thing. And
like a K-pop.
Yeah. So the little He-Man starts telling me, he's like, I don't tend to trust your kind, so make one false move and you'll get more than a tap. And then he magically becomes a Easter bunny, and I don't know, and eggs start flying around him. He's like, I may have lost the Thunder Punch and the Flying Fist, but I still have the Easter Special. So Keldor looks at me, he's like, what is going on here? And then we have He-Man from the 1987 live action movie, Dolph Lundgren He-Man, and he's like, I've been looking for you. You are right, the young prince. He-Man of Hellskull has neither disappeared nor died. And Keldor asks him, he's like, who are you? And he's like, well, it'd be better if I show you. So he's got, if anybody watched the movie, the Cosmic Key, and he's basically explaining to Keldor what's going on. That Anti-He-Man is going around to various different Eternias, and he's taking the power from those Eternias to power himself to make him stronger. And he's going to go back into his Castle Hellskull. In the darkest depths of there, he discovered the nexus of all realities, and he used the Orb of Horrors to travel through to different multiverses.
Okay, so is the Cosmic Key only in the movie?
It's the first time I remember it, yes.
Okay.
I think since then it's been in stuff, but at that time, that was the first time, yeah.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah. And he tells me, he's like, he encountered other He-Mans, and he took their power swords, draining their castles of all of their immense magical power and adding it to his own, often murdering the He-Mans also. With each new absorption, he grows in strength, allowing him to increase the frequency of his attacks. Even now, he walks the paths of the Interrealms, making his way toward his final destination, the Power Prime, the source that feeds the power to all Castle Grayskulls in the multiverse. Keldor looks at him. He's like, Grayskulls? He's like, you need to understand, Keldor. In every other known universe, He-Man is the champion of good, and you're the evil. They keep trying to explain to him. He's like, I'm a prince. I'm not a hero. I'm not a fighter. He-Man's like, look, let me show you something. So he brings up an image of Gwildor. Now, Gwildor was a character they originally just created for that live-action movie.
Okay.
Because budgetary reasons and special effects, they couldn't do the Orko character, which was a floating magician character in the cartoon series.
He looks like a character from Final Fantasy, like the old Final Fantasies, if anybody's familiar with those. Like the little wizard hat. He looks like a mage.
Yeah. Well, basically, that's what he is. He's supposed to be a wizard. But his magic never works very good in cartoon at all. So the image of Gwildor looks at Keldor and tells him, he's like, hello, I'm Gwildor Thenor, master inventor and locksmith. Greetings from the positive universe. He's like, I have studied you, Prince, and in every other universe, He-Man's greatest enemy is an iteration of you. And in every iteration, eventually, He-Man defeats you. You might say he beats you like a drum. Yes. Mm-hmm. By my calculations, that means the reverse must be true with you. As a resident of this negative mirror, you might be able to break the cycle. Take the anti-power sword and return its power to the rightful realms. We need you, Keldor. We need a hero. Gwildor, we have to, and then it goes into a little scene that he shows. It says, Gwildor, we have to go. And then Gwildor turns around and it shows an image of Anti-He-Man striking him down with his power sword. And Keldor tells him, he's like, that's enough. He's like, I understand now. He said, let's go. And a portal opens, and they all walk through the portal together. And when they pop out the other end of the portal, the other universe they've popped into is one of my favorite, but a lot of people don't like it. It's the universe of the new adventures of He-Man. And basically, Keldor looks at him. He's like, I thought you said we were in a castle. And you find out that they're on a Starship Eternia. And that's where chapter 1 ends.
They go through a portal and makes this funny noise, and they write it out. Is that from the show?
No, it's from the movie. The Cosmic Key, yeah. Yeah, the Cosmic Key in the movie, it's tones.
Okay.
Gwildor created it as singing tones because when it almost gets destroyed toward the end of the movie, he hooks up a keyboard and stuff to it so he can create the tones.
That's right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he creates the tones so they can redo it. So yeah, it's the musical tones.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2. Masters of the Universe, Part 2. It opens up. We got a big battle going on, and we've got Hydron and Flipshot, He-Man. We got, and all these characters are from the new adventures of He-Man. A lot of people, like I said, a lot of people don't like it, but I enjoy it. So He-Man, Keldor, the other He-Man, Keldor, and looking up He-Man, they're all inside the starship, and they're looking outside at the battle, and they're basically wondering what's going on. And Keldor's like, "Oh my world, you can't even see the stars anymore because of all the black smoke in the sky." And 87 He-Man says, "But we're no longer on your world, Prince. We're strangers in a strange land, and we need to find Anti-He-Man before he gets to the source that resides in this universe." He said the Cosmic Key can track the residual power of Grayskull in the inner realms. And you find out in this one that there is no Castle Grayskull. The power of Grayskull got transferred to Starship Eternia.
Okay.
And that happened in the mini comics, I think in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, because in the cartoon, I don't think they really said it. I'd have to go back and rewatch it to see. To now, the New Adventures He-Man and Mara, another character, they show up. They start attacking the mutants. and they're the bad guys in the cartoon series. They're the ones that Skeletor follows He-Man to the future because, real quick, the Galactic Guardians are the good guys, and in the cartoon, they're trying to find somebody that can help them defeat the evil mutants. And so they travel to the past, to Eternia. First they think Skeletor's a good guy because, of course, Skeletor lies and says, hey, I'm the good guy. Then they find Prince Adam, or He-Man, and they explain their situation. They get on their ship, but Skeletor basically kind of lends a ride, and he comes to the future with them. And they come back to the planet Primus. And so Skeletor in the cartoon, he joins the evil mutants. He is the leader, but he lets Flog, who is this fella here, pretend to still be the leader in his own mind. So, yeah. So He-Man and Mara come on Starship. They're fighting the evil mutants. And you got all of them on here. And I don't remember all their names, but I remember a few of them. You've got Karate. You've got Slushhead. You've got Flog. And so they keep fighting them like that. And He-Man's like, yes, I hear you, sorceress. The power of the good and the way of the magic cries out a warning. Something comes for the heart of Eternia. And so then here comes Anti-Eternia He-Man. Boom, he pops up. And you can see he's already killed several soldiers already. It's like something cruel, something alien, something familiar. Keldor's looking, and he's trying to do a little magic. He doesn't do a lot, but he does a little bit of magic. And he's saying the fuel core. Anti is making his way toward the ship's core where the spirit of Grayskull resides. It's near. And there's something else nearer, someone else. And then he gets a big jolt. And basically he explains to me, like, this is why I don't do magic a lot. He's like, now you know why I don't like to use big spells. When you can't control magic, he said, it hurts like hell. So then it's Skeletor. And this Skeletor is really cool because he's got kind of some mechanical wiring on him and stuff like that. He's a really cool looking Skeletor. The New Adventure Skeletor, that is. And he pops up, basically teleports himself there. And he's with Krita, who's one of the females on the show. She's one of the evil mutants. So this Skeletor has no idea what's going on. He's just there to fight New Adventures He-Man and the Galactic Guardians. And he turns around and 87 He-Man and looking up He-Man, they're like, Skeletor says, what? Who dares use that name? Because they say Keldor. And once he became Skeletor, nobody called him Keldor again. He never went by that. So 87 He-Man looking up He-Man, they're both, He-Man dares. Keldor's like, oh my God, the face of death. Skeletor takes a swipe at 87 He-Man. They get into it. They fight a little bit. Krita tries to get involved. She gets knocked back. New Adventure Skeletor, he's trying to get up. He's like, yes, He-Man. Because basically the ship is getting ready to crash into Primus. Their decaying orbit, they're getting ready to crash. And they're trying to explain to the New Adventure Skeletor what's going on. Why are they there? You know, they need to get to the core of the ship and stop Anti-He-Man from destroying it. So the panel shows Anti-He-Man. He's attacking the core. He's pulling the wires out, trying to shut it down. Warnings are going off. Orbital decay imminent. Warning, warning. Anti-He-Man says, shut up. Mara shows up. She tries to stop him. He's like, you want to stop me, the most powerful man in the multiverse, with hair? She's basically got that long whip of hair like that dude did in Kickboxer movie. He tried to whip it around and knock him out. New Adventures He-Man comes coming at him. He's like, bastard. He's like, you'll go no farther. Space He-Man, you're ridiculous. Because, again, people made fun of that He-Man back in the day. So, New Adventures Skeletor, he's hiding. He's watching New Adventures He-Man and Anti-He-Man fight. Keldor pops up and he's like, the spirit of Grayskull, the power sword. This is exactly what Anti-He-Man wants. Keldor takes off Skeletor's helmet and it just looks all these wires and just pus looking stuff under the helmet on his skull. So of course he attacks Keldor. You know, Keldor thinks he's going to try to help him out. He gives him a hand up. Skeletor basically kind of fries him, shocks him a little bit with some electricity or some magic powers. 87 He-Man and looking up He-Man, they're floating outside the ship. They got outside the ship somehow. I must have missed that one. Hydron and Flipshot are out there, and they're going to try to rescue him. And they look at the Starship Eternia and see that it's getting ready to crash into Primus. And you see the surface of Primus, a couple of people are down there.
So it's not Primus the band.
Yeah. Well, as 87 He-Man and looking up He-Man are trying to stop Starship Eternia from crashing into Primus, Anti-He-Man has killed New Adventures He-Man, stabbed him right in the chest with his power sword. And then Skeletor pops up and he's like, Skeletor, I've been expecting you. Skeletor looks at him. He says, by the power of Serpos, He-Man, I see the truth. Anti-He-Man grabs Skeletor by the neck. Snap. He snaps snaps New Adventure's Skeletor's neck. Anti-He-Man grabs the New Adventure's He-Man sword, getting ready to combine the power with his sword. And Anti-He-Man looks over and he says, Prince Keldor, how nice to see you again, Uncle. He combines the power of the two swords together. And right before New Adventure Skeletor dies, he tells Keldor, he's like, look, you're going to be the one that has to fight. And you're going to have to be the one that uses the magic. Here, take my Havoc Staff so you'll have a way of basically focusing your magic, a better way to get it focused and make it more powerful. And Skeletor dies. And then we have Keldor talking to 87 He-Man, basically saying, hey, you saved the ship. You know, unfortunately, this version of He-Man is gone, but it has the Galactic Guardians that will protect this universe, even though they don't have a He-Man anymore. They use the Cosmic Key. They open the portal. They leave Starship Eternia. And on the other end of the portal, we have entered the universe of the 2002 Masters of the Universe cartoon. That is the end of Chapter 2.
Nice.
And on Chapter 3... it opens up and we've got different versions of Zodak. Zodak's kind of like the Watcher for Marvel.
Okay.
He kind of watches over stuff. He doesn't step in unless something ultimately super bad happens that he has to step in.
Does he break the fourth wall?
No, he doesn't break the fourth wall, no. So we've got various versions of Keldor because Anti-He-Man has showed up. Or not Keldor, I'm sorry, Zodak. Because Anti-He-Man has showed up. And they're all basically like, we're going to stop you. We're not going to let you ruin all these other universes like you have these ones in the past. This is the interrealm in between the universes. They're trying to stop him before he can get to another Eternia. And we leave that page and we get to the 2002 universe of He-Man. And we are at Snake Mountain. And we see Hordak, King Hiss, and a few other characters. And they're all watching Skeletor, like always. He's trying to attack Castle Grayskull. Hordak and King Hiss are kind of going back and forth and talking about, what's going on and kind of a deal they can work out. And then all of a sudden a portal opens up and Anti-He-Man is fighting. I don't remember this character's name. He kind of looks like Deadpool, but I forgot what his name was, unfortunately, though. So they crash land. Hordak and King Hiss, they start attacking Anti-He-Man. Of course, Anti-He-Man, he murders them, basically. The only one he gets a hold of is King Hiss. So Hordak's kind of smart. Hordak kind of stays behind. Anti-He-Man, he's like, Skeletor rules the light hemisphere of Eternia with the power of Grayskull at his fingertips. You desire access to the castle? So basically Anti-He-Man's going to be like, hey, I'll help you get to the Castle Grayskull. He tells him, he says, I have the power of several hundred Grayskulls pulsing through my blade. I am the key. Then we see Skeletor and Beastman, Evil Lyn, Trapjaw. They're all trying to, again, get into Castle Grayskull. That's Skeletor's thing. He wants to get Castle Grayskull so he can get the power for himself. So then we have 87 He-Man looking up He-Man, Keldor. They all start fighting him, trying to keep him from getting into Castle Grayskull. And it's going pretty good for him for a while. And still going pretty good. Then Skeletor comes up behind him, knocks him out with his Havoc Staff. And he takes 87 He-Man and looking up He-Man prisoner. He's got him wrapped up in some chains, some magical chains.
Yep.
And he takes the Cosmic Key. He's like, I like to study them for artifacts further. He's like, besides, one can never imprison too many He-Man. Evil Lyn's kind of touching on Keldor, and he's still kind of a little woozy. He's like, oh, not tonight, Lyn. Evil Lyn asks Skeletor, she's like, and the pretty Gar boy? I think that's a species, Gar, G-A-R. I think that because if nobody knows, Keldor is blue-skinned, pointy ears, black hair. He's almost an elf-looking kind of guy.
Looks kind of like Nightcrawler.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Minus the tail. Yeah. So she asks Skeletor what he's going to do with him, and Skeletor says, bring him to Castle Grayskull. He's like, and no, I'll never get tired of saying it. And so we see Teela laying on the ground. She's a prisoner in the jail or the dungeon of Castle Grayskull as they throw in 87 He-Man and looking up He-Man. They've kept Keldor. They got him sitting in a chair. He walks down the steps, going to talk to Keldor. He's like, the tome manipulator, talking about the Cosmic Key, would suggest you traveled here from somewhere else. And this impressive weapon, a Havoc Staff, a weapon that only can be used by me. And he's basically asking Keldor questions. Where did you come from? Where did you get this power? And Keldor's kind of telling him, what's going on with Anti-He-Man and what's going to happen to him if he doesn't help him out. Then we got 87 He-Man and looking up He-Man, talking to Teela. And she's like, okay, I believe. And he's been basically telling her the same story. Because none of these universes, they don't know anything about what's going on with anti-He-Man or anything. So they've been explaining to her what's been going on, and she's like, okay, I believe you. I mean, Prince Adam was He-Man the whole time, and I never suspected it. So I've heard of stranger things. But how are you both still He-Man without your swords? And that's the thing about the 87 movie. People didn't like that, but again, budgetary reasons, they just decided he was He-Man. He would never change back to Prince Adam. So 87 He-Man says, on each world that the rules are a little different. And we get back to Keldor and Skeletor, and Keldor's telling him, he's like, look, Skeletor, you couldn't look because part of your fears of giving yourself over to ultimate power, you already became this in this pursuit. Part of you still fears becoming something worse. Part of you is still Keldor, Prince of Eternia, is still me. Skeletor turns around, he's like, no, I have become all that I desired. I am king. I am what? Damn it. He looks outside. A big army of snake men have showed up because we've got anti-He-Man and King Hiss and all the snake men have showed up to take over Castle Grayskull. So as this is going on, Teela's talking to the two He-Mans in the dungeon, and she's like, He-Man. And then they start magically disappearing from the prison. And then they pop up outside with Skeletor's other soldiers, Triclops, all of them, Spikor, all those characters. And so they start fighting. Keldor and Skeletor inside talking. He's like, where are you going? He's like, he has to be stopped. You should be joining them. Skeletor tells him, he's like, Hiss, Hordak, and Shadow Weaver have enough magic to resist being disappeared by my diamond. And I don't feel like wasting what power I do have on playing hero. So we cut. All these other ones show up. Skeletor uses his power to bring this universe's He-Man back because apparently he did use the Shroud Stone to get rid of him. So he brings him back. And this is a cool one. This is the snake armor version of this world's He-Man. Great toy. I have that toy. It's a great toy. So he brings this world's He-Man back. So they all just start fighting. A big battle's ensuing. Skeletor attacks Keldor with his Havoc Staff. Keldor comes right back at him with his Havoc Staff that he has. Knocks Skeletor right out of Castle Grayskull. Not New Adventures, but 2002 He-Man says, Teela, I couldn't save them. I'm sorry. And so they start fighting again. He-Man's fighting. He throws his sword. And unfortunately...
Oh, no.
Yeah, unfortunately, his sword misses Skeletor, who he's intending to impale with it. Gets caught by Anti-He-Man, and Anti-He-Man takes it and kills Looking Up He-Man. Stabs him right through the back with it. Bless his heart.
Yeah, and he's only like 2 feet tall.
Yeah, probably about 2 feet tall, yeah.
It was like a shish kebab.
Bless him. Keldor's looking outside at it. Anti-He-Man says, and now, Skeletor, I'm going to take the power of Grayskull from you. So once again, Anti-He-Man takes the power sword and combines it with his to make him more powerful. Skeletor looks up. Anti-He-Man says, before you die, know, Skeletor, that energies of this Grayskull will finally be used properly. All that exists will be anti and no anti-truth. Skeletor tries to attack him, tries to fight him, and just as he's getting ready to do that, the Masters of the Universe show up. Shadow Weaver has brought him back. So basically, he kind of trades in Anti-He-Man for the Masters to pop back up. And all the other He-Mans and the Masters are looking at Anti-He-Man. They call him a murderer. And Castle Grayskull it collapses. It has no power anymore. It just collapses. Well, then we turn the page. Skeletor's fighting Keldor again. Keldor's like, there, your castle has fallen, your rule is over. Now do you see the endless pursuit of power and what it's led to? So they just keep arguing for a few minutes. Skeletor says, oh, whatever. And they walk away, and it's Keldor, 87 He-Man. They got the Cosmic Key back. And we see on the last page of this issue, we see Anti-He-Man has popped through a portal of his own. And they say, we must find out where Anti-He-Man will spread his evil next. Anti-He-Man says, yes, the power is strong here. I'm closer, ever closer. He's like, what? And it shows a circus. And and this will be the 1980s cartoon universe coming up. Issue 4. Again, we see the world known as Eternia, the heart of the universe. And this is great. This is my childhood. This is what I used to watch on TV all the time. The 82, the 83 cartoon. Adam, it's at the Eternal Palace. He-Man and Man-at-Arms are in the kind of like a docking bay or something with the other vehicles and stuff. Orko's like, look, all I'm saying, Man-at-Arms, is the Orko Fest has to have a nice ring to it. He's basically wanting to rename the circuits and stuff to Orko Fest.
He's wanting to put his own festival together, man.
New Orko's Eve, Orkoloween, Orkolopalooza, Keldor, and then you see Keldor from the anti-universe looking at him through a vent. Him and 87 He-Man are hiding in the vents, talking about what's going on. Keldor's like, another lesson, He-Man? I swear, everyone on this Eternia spends their days teaching each other to be better people. Talking about PSAs they would have at the end of every episode of the original He-Man cartoon. There'd always be a PSA at the end of it.
Classic 80s.
Yeah, definitely. So him and 87 He-Man are talking. They're reminiscing on looking up He-Man being murdered. They show a scene of where he was stabbed in the back. And Keldor tells me, he says, before he died, he apologized to Teela for always being irresponsible. I don't think he should have been sorry. When you care, you could be manipulated. You can have things taken away. He's like, isn't it better that no one expects anything of you so they can't be disappointed? 87 He-Man says, no more questions. You want a lesson from me, Prince? Here's a few. Shoot, swing a sword, don't die, and accomplish your damn missions. So they're still in the vents. They're talking a little bit more. We go back to the 80s He-Man and Man-at-Arms. Man-at-Arms says, everything okay, He-Man? He-Man's like, I'm getting a message from Castle Grayskull. The sorceress is telling him, He-Man, there's something getting ready to happen. Something bad's going to happen. And he gets interrupted and says, oh, wow, the circus. That means Cracker's the clown. He's the best. Of course, that's Orko talking. Keldor and 87 He-Man are still in the vents. And they're trying to figure out what's going on. And 87 He-Man, also, he's getting the message from the sorceress. Even though it's not his sorceress, he's getting the message. And Keldor asks him what's going on. He says, the sorceress of Grayskull, the two are bonded. I hear her too, faintly, but I do hear her. And and then he says, he's like, I missed her voice because his sorceress is gone. And so the sorceress tells He-Man, he says, do you recall the Star Seed? He-Man's like, recall it? Hard to forget it. It was a globe of leftover energy that created the universe. And so basically, she's telling him that what Zodak has told her. So she's telling He-Man there's something wrong. And so He-Man, this is where he lets the power return back to Grayskull. And he says, never a dull moment. Let the power return. He changes back to Prince Adam and says, not now to disappoint Teela with my trademark irresponsibility. I can almost hear her sigh now. And then he gets knocked out. And we get to the palace room, and we see King Randor, Queen Marlena, Teela, Man-at-Arms, Orko, several other people. They're decorating. And Orko sees Crackers the clown, but it's not really Crackers.
What?
No, it's Anti-He-Man. Oh, God, this character in one or two episodes of the cartoon is crazy.
I mean, he reminds me of Roxo the clown.
He does a little bit, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. Oh, he's a crazy.
Cocaine.
He almost had a voice like that in the
Did he
80s
really?
cartoon. It gets weird, yeah.
That'd be funny if that's what they based it on.
It's weird.
So they're partying.
Yeah, so the guy, because I think the circus is in town. So we see who knocked out Prince Adam, and it was 87 He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Keldor's like, what did you do? You hit the guy you were supposed to save, and hard. He-Man's like, our previous attempts haven't worked, so we're adjusting the plan. Now shut up. I need you to concentrate on finding the tune to the center of the planet, because they also overheard about the seed, the Star Seed. So Anti-He-Man pulls off his mask to reveal that it's him underneath the Crackers costume. Prince Adam wakes up, and he sees 87 He-Man, and He-Man tells him, he says, we found it's best just to pull the bandage off quickly in this situation. Adam, I'm you from another universe. Believe it or not, it's another version of Skeletor. He is Keldor, and I am told he may somehow be the universe's last chance. And Keldor's like, I'm not a Skeletor. So he's trying to fight off some creatures while He-Man's telling Prince Adam what's going on. And so they're at the center of the planet. They find the Star Seed, and they're going to, and boom, as soon as they turn around, here's Anti-He-Man. So basically he's saying, you had power, you just chose not to use it. So they start fighting. Anti-He-Man starts fighting Keldor. 87 He-Man shows up, pops him one right in the mouth. And he says, kill Anti-He-Man with my bare hands. Adam helps Keldor up to his feet. They're watching 87 He-Man and Anti-He-Man fight. And 87 He-Man's pummeling Anti-He-Man pretty good. He's beating the crap out of him.
Pretty good fight scene.
Yeah, it is. Anti-He-Man, he spits a little blood out. He's like, I don't know if you remember, but your world was pretty well destroyed by the time I got there. And 87 He-Man says, no, it's why I'm suited to annihilate you from existence. And then he looks at his hand. His hand's starting to change. His hand's starting to turn black. Like this black ooze is starting to consume him. And Anti-He-Man says, the Starseed, an orb containing the residual energies that created the universe. Those same energies created every universe across the multiverse, including mine. So basically, he's poisoning the multiverse with his power. The stronger he gets, the more his power is going to overtake the multiverse. So him and 87 He-Man, they just keep fighting and keep fighting. Prince Adam and Keldor have the cosmic key trying to find the tune so they can get out of there. Keldor says the key was created by Gwildor, who concentrated on a place while activating it and listened for the tune. Then when you press the red button, it lights up and you play that song to open the door to that place. A better name for it would probably be Portal Fiddle. Keldor looks at the fight still going on. This has to work, or Anti is going to turn Looking Down He-Man into one of his frothing, insane disciples. And Looking Up He-Man and Space Mullet He-Man will have died for nothing. Man, these nicknames. Adam's like, we put our heads together and came up with a great plan. It'll work. Have faith. They finally find the tune that they're looking for, so they can get out of there. And then we look at Snake Mountain, and it's Skeletor sitting on his throne. He's watching the circus. They pop up in Snake Mountain right in front of Skeletor, and they're like, "We're in Snake Mountain." Skeletor looks at him. He's like, "What? Who dares enter my lair? Prince Adam and the Starseed? He was denied me once. I'll have its power give to me once again." Skeletor goes and grabs the Starseed. Big blast of energy pops out. Skeletor is holding the Starseed, and he's turned basically to look like an anti-Skeletor. He's all black looking now. And 87 He-Man says, no, it's not the recognition of the Starseed that makes a good deed worth doing. It's the good. Skeletor says, all you muscle monkeys are the same. And now the seed is mine. All mine. Throws the Starseed down because he doesn't want to be He-Man's slave at all. He wants to be the guy who defeats He-Man. He throws it down. Skeletor says, never. I am Skeletor. I will never serve He-Man. Never. Changes back to regular Skeletor. Collapses on the ground. Anti-He-Man and Keldor, they jump for the Starseed. This version of Prince Adam takes his power sword, hits the Starseed with it, causes it to explode. It destroys Snake Mountain. They all start flying through the air. You see Anti-He-Man, he's escaping through a portal, and he's got this He-Man's power sword stuck in his gut. Mm-hmm. So the explosion basically impaled him, but unfortunately gave him what he wanted. It gave him the sword. It gave him the power of Grayskull.
Say thanks.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. So as he's going through the portal, he pops up on another version of Eternia. And this version of Eternia is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is basically the kind of the savage He-Man from the mini comics, kind of the barbarian He-Man.
Okay.
And the last page, you're seeing a smoldering Snake Mountain. They're all standing around talking about, we've got to go find Anti-He-Man. And Keldor's holding the left side of his face with his hand. And he says, but with each Eternia we visit and each struggle for power we join, I have more questions and none are so burning as this one. If even a He-Man can be corrupted by power, what hope does a Skeletor have? He turns around, he faces 87 He-Man, and now half of his face is a skeleton. So he's half Skeletor right now. Uh-oh. Because of the explosion. Yeah. Chapter 5. And it's Anti-He-Man and these two villagers. He's apparently, I guess they found him where he was stabbed with the other power sword. They've kind of nursed him back to health a little bit. And he's looking at him. He's like, the sword. The villagers are telling him, he's like, there were two blades. The black one you kept on your back. This one was in your gut. So we took it out and we nursed you back to health. He swipes the sword away from the female villager. And then it cuts and all you see is a scream. And Anti-He-Man, basically, he's like, thank you for mending my wounds. In saving me, you have ensured the slow death of your world, but quick deaths for yourself. And then we see He-Man riding Battle Cat. First time we've seen Battle Cat in the comic book so far. Love Battle Cat. Awesome character.
Battle Cat looks cool.
Yeah, he's a great character. Cringer, you know. But Battle Cat's really cool. He shows up to the village. It's burnt to the ground. Nothing left. Dead bodies laying around everywhere. It's a sad sight. And he shows up. And the hidden half of the power sword is gone. Its sacred stone tomb lies in ruins. There's only one being on Eternia who could be responsible for such carnage. Skeletor. Now, the half power sword, that was a thing that was in the mini comics and part of the action figure line. He-Man came with the one half of the power sword, which was gray plastic, and Skeletor came with a purple one, and they were made to fit together. You could peg them together, basically, to make a full power sword. They only did that in the mini comics and for the toys. The cartoon, it was only He-Man had the power sword in the cartoon. They changed it up for that. So that's what that's referencing, the half power sword, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so then we get to the next page, and He-Man's crying because of the destruction that he's... You quit laughing. He-Man is a damn hero.
I mean, with his pink shirts and his tears of sadness.
His tears of sadness, yes. So he's got tears coming down his eyes, and we know it's Keldor, but he doesn't know this. Keldor comes up behind him. Skeletor isn't the one you seek for this atrocity. He-Man's like, you wear the face of death. And he attacks Keldor because he thinks he's Skeletor, because that's all that that's all that he knows him as, is Skeletor. And as they're fighting, 87 He-Man goes over and starts tickling the chin of Battle Cat. He's like, and I'm you, He-Man. Well, sort of. They explain to this He-Man what's going on, what anti-He-Man is doing. This version of He-Man says, I will call a council of the masters of the universe from across Eternia, divine sorceress, cunning man of arms, man at arms, and wise Stratos, just Zodak, and serene T-Law, T-E-E-L-A. I don't know why they did it that way, but that's from the mini comics too, I believe. 87 He-Man says, He-Man, you're making a mistake, please. And he's basically laying their bodies, and he's going to burn them, kind of like the Conan movie when he burnt his lady after she died. So Keldor gets into Savage He-Man's face and just screams at him. He's like, tell us now to guard the blade, or you'll find yourself bringing the master of the universe against an unstoppable adversary. And added to the top of your funeral pyre will be the guardian of your castle, the warrior goddess, T-La. And so He-Man turns around, he watches the villagers burn and pays them respects. And it continues to say, as Prince Keldor had discovered in his travels across the multiverse, He-Man had a weakness for Teelas. That's true. That is very true. The next page over, after the funeral session, Savage He-Man, he gets a sky sled for 87 He-Man to ride. So Keldor and Savage He-Man jump on Battle Cat. 87 He-Man jumps on the sky sled. And they're off. They're off to Castle Grayskull to get the other half of the power sword. Skeletor, he's looking into this pool of pink liquid, kind of his little thing he can see into. And he's like, the vengeance of Skeletor. They continue to ride, heading toward Castle Grayskull. And they come across some ruins. It looks like some kind of giant robot or a ship or something. Keldor's talking to He-Man. He says, look, I'm sorry if we got off on the wrong foot. In truth, you and I have more in common than it may seem. Do you not know of the great wars, says the Savage He-Man? I believe you would find this world's history very interesting. Legends tell us that Eternia was once a society of scientists and sorcerers who built a perfect, peaceful heaven. Destruction became angry at their dwindling influence and rose up from the eternal hells in rebellion. They struck mercilessly. Devastation followed, and the battle between Dark God and man raged for millennia.
So basically, they're like all civilized and futuristic, kind of like Krypton, right?
Yeah.
And then these guys...
I guess the evil gods, as they call it, or the evil forces.
Okay.
Just like, like, hell no, we ain't letting this shit happen. No, we're going to take this planet for ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, listeners, I grew up with He-Man, but I don't know every little nuance of the lore. I know some, but not everything. So they continue to ride. Savage He-Man continues to say, but the damage had been done. Eternia was decimated. Wounds in the world seeped with black magic and accursed artifacts. And as they're riding, He-Man tells him, he's like, whoa, hold up, Battle Cat. And he's like, we're here. So they're basically at, to me, it looks like a volcano, I guess. It's just a big lake of lava.
Yeah.
Is in front of them. And I'll be damned, there's anti-He-Man. He done beat them to it. And we see a picture of the other half of the power sword. Basically, not a sword and a stone situation, but it is in a stone. Kind of, and it's out of anti-He-Man's vision. He doesn't see it yet. Then we get a big blast. Boom. Somebody blasts anti-He-Man from behind. And it's Skeletor. And he's got Merman with him and Beastman with him. And it doesn't last long. Anti-He-Man, he knocks Merman. I think he knocks him in the lava. I think he kills Merman. I'm pretty sure, because Merman's like, no. Punches.
See if you can swim this.
Yeah, see if you can swim in this one, bitch. And then he punches Beastman. You see, with the retrieval of the final blade, our multiversal dance is over. Doesn't kill Beastman, I don't think. But he does knock him out. Skeletor looks at him. He's like, you ape, rise for your master. Beastman? Anti-He-Man comes up behind him, sword raised above his head, and no more Skeletors will ever raise their fleshless heads. Savage He-Man shows up, knocks Anti-He-Man down. Battle Cat takes a big chunk out of his arm. So they're fighting. Here comes Keldor, 87 He-Man on the sky sled. Poor Battle Cat gets slung right into 87 He-Man in the sky sled. Anti-He-Man looks at him. You can't swing a dead cat in here without hitting a He-Man. Savage He-Man looks at him. You murderer. You murdered my people, broke my loyal steed. You are not worthy to wear the force harness of the sorceress. Real quick on that one. In this one, this He-Man didn't have the supernatural strength. He had the magical harness that protected him from damage.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about there with that harness of power. Or the force harness, excuse me. You are not worthy to bear my name. Knocks the crap out of Anti-He-Man. He's pummeling him. He's punching him. But one fault to that harness, Anti-He-Man hits a button, deactivates the harness, grabs He-Man basically by the head, plunges him into the lava. Bye-bye, Savage He-Man.
See ya.
Anti-He-Man finds the other half of the power sword, and he says, I preach your glory, brother. It's my greatest honor to carry on as your avatar and to leave you fossilized in stone where you belong. Keldor comes up behind him after Anti-He-Man attaches the other power sword. He gets a hold of it. He says, stop, damn you. Anti-He-Man, I'm stunned that you haven't given up yet, but it's too late. I have the last blade, and by the power of Hellskull, I have the power. So he's finally got the last power sword that he needs before he goes and does what he needs to do. Keldor's talking to 87 He-Man. He's like, he cut a gate in space with a cursed black blade. We have to go after him to Grayskull. Find the stupid gravitonic tune on the cosmic key. Unfortunately, the cosmic key has been damaged during the battle. There's no way they can use it to open a portal again. But this world Skeletor pops up. He's like, when first I fell upon this dimension, I knew it was important. It was primal, pure, unfiltered. And that which occurs here ripples across the reflecting pools of the universe. If Eternia falls to that creature, so too will all other dimensions, including my home realm. So too will my people. So Skeletor uses his magic, and he opens up a portal for Keldor and 87 He-Man. Keldor's touching his skeleton side of his face, and he's like, Gwildor was wrong. I can't break the cycle. The script won't be flipped. Anti-He-Man wins and beats Skeletor like a drum, and I can't become something better. And then we pop back up, Castle Grayskull. And T-Law is there. You see Anti-He-Man with the power sword. And this was a gimmick on the toy, Castle Grayskull toy back in the day. You could take He-Man's power sword and plug it in a little port inside a castle, and it would make the drawbridge or the jawbridge fall open for the toy. So that's taken from the toy. And they did that in the comic a couple of times. He did it once or twice in the cartoon. But most of the time, he just sat there and kind of just held his power sword up and said, jawbridge open. So T-Law thinks it's her He-Man coming to pay her a visit. She's all giddy. She's all happy. She's like, He-Man, you've accepted that you were always meant to be the true king of Castle Grayskull, seated at my side. Anti-He-Man says, that sounds nice, Tila, but I share myself only with the anti-truth. And she starts getting attacked by these evil spirits that he's unleashed. 87 He-Man, Skeletor, and Prince Keldor show up to help her fight off all these evil spirits. As Anti-He-Man makes his way down to the bowels of Castle Grayskull. And you have basically, I think it's the spirit of Grayskull, I believe, it's talking to him. And it's saying, he's like, it was inevitable, I suppose. The dark gods would be unhappy, contained at the bottom of the manicosm, but they are unable to create, can only copy, pervert, and corrupt. So Anti-He-Man raises his power sword and he says, yes, by the power of Grayskull, and he shoots the power into the big portal that's at the in Castle Grayskull. 87 He-Man, Prince Keldor, Skeletor, and T-Law, they're heading down that way. Of course, like usual, Skeletor turns on them. Mm-hmm. He shoots 87 He-Man. Keldor comes at him. He's like, damn you, we needed each other. Skeletor looks at him. He's like, you saw some humanity in me, Prince. Some connection that we might share. A reason to trust me. Foolish child. So they fight. Keldor, straight up, I think he kills Skeletor. I mean, he takes a blast. Like, he's taking all he could take. He creates this huge magical blast. He just screams at him, and then Skeletor just flies back. I think he killed Skeletor. It's what it looks like to me. And he comes up to 87 He-Man, asks him if he's okay. His injury is severe. He's infected with dark magic. He is beyond even my healing abilities. Keldor looks at him and he's like, Anti has the swords, He-Man. The castle falls around us. Now would be a great time for one of those inspirational lessons. 87 He-Man looks at him. Keldor, I always knew Gwildor was wrong. A Skeletor can never stop Anti. And then he dies. 87 He-Man dies. And then it says, the He-Man of Anti-Eternia had what he came across the multiverse for. Not all that remained was to bring it back to Castle Hellskull. So he's going to go back home. He's going to go back to his Anti-Eternia. Keldor jumps at him. He follows him through the portal. They both disappear. They're going through the inner realm. And they show up to the world known as Anti-Eternia. And we end it with the heroes of this planet, who would be the villains basically on any other version of He-Man. And they are at Castle Hellskull, the Anti-He-Man's, basically his version of Castle Grayskull. And we see inside of it, Keldor is on his knees, and he's holding a power sword. He's like, what? Where is this? He's like, God's above and below. I have half a power sword. The other anti-people, Anti-Tila, Man-at-Arms, Orko, they're all they're all evil. They look at him and they're like, what are you doing in the throne room of Hellskull, little boy? And where's He-Man? Doesn't he know? We have universes to enslave. And that's the end of chapter 5. Chapter 6, the final chapter. We open up. Anti-He-Man. He's at the heart of Castle Hellskull. He's getting ready to go to the nexus of all realities so he can create the anti-truth, bring it, the orb of horrors, and bring it forth all of his anti-power and corrupt the universe. He's walking up to it. He's like, here each door is a link to another world in the multiverse, viewed through the orb of horrors. But I haven't come home from my sojourn alone. Let the power return. So all the power he's gained goes back basically into Hellskull, trying to release it there. Prince Keldor, he's got half a power sword, so he starts fighting all the other Anti-Eternia people. The other evil people, I should say. Anti-Tila and the others. Yeah, he's kind of he's a little too strong for him, unfortunately. He's giving it his best shot, unfortunately. But it's not doing too well. Then you see in a reflecting pool, the other heroes of this planet have showed up to help him out. Anti-Tila looks at him. We had a sorceress, but she denied anti-truth. So we waited until she turned into a bird. And then we cooked her on a spit. As she's talking to him, he starts manifesting some spray paint cans next to her. And then he sprays her in the face with some green spray paint. All of them. Anti-Tila, Anti-Orko, all of them. And she's like, funny little boy. Anything else to say before we skin you alive? And he holds up the power sword, the Havoc staff, and he says, yeah, just one more thing. He says, hail King Randor. Boom, all the good guys, they just start pouring in. King Randor, Beastman, Evil Lyn, all of them start busting in, start fighting all the anti-people. Keldor comes in, he's like, Keldor. He's like, where have you been? Where is He-Man? This may be just the opportunity we need to stop his evil forever. Keldor's trying to explain to him what all that's happened. Keldor takes his half a power sword. He runs after Anti-He-Man to go find out where he's at. And we show back up here to the heart of Castle Hellskull, and you see these entities, these evil entities. I guess it's like those evil gods, I guess.
They're like zombies at this point.
Yeah, like zombies, and you see something here. They're building some kind of, I don't know, it's like a mirror or a wall or something. It says, you contain great wisdom and knowledge, spirits, but you always been much more than that. Your fate mirrored the fate of a universe. You molded it in your skeletal hands. Now with the prime source and each of its iterations under my control, there will be only one universe. A broken mirror where all existence reflects anti-truth. So they're building a mirror so he can bounce his power off of it. Keldor pops up behind him. He basically tells him, he's like, hell no. He's like, no, this ain't happening. He's like, you keep this up and you're definitely not getting any gifts from me next He-Man Day. So they start fighting, and Keldor, he's finally accepted that he's the only one that's going to be able to stop him. So they get into a big fight. Anti-He-Man, he's like, what exactly is this, Uncle? A half-finished thing? A proto-Skeletor? A cheap costume? Perhaps if you had fully committed, you would have had a chance. And they've almost got that mirror built that he's going to use to reflect his anti-power on it. Anti-He-Man takes Keldor. He makes him look at the Orb of Horrors. He says, now watch, Uncle. Look into the Orb of Horrors. See the future, just moments away from fruition. And it basically shows a vision of Anti-He-Man ruling over all the multiverse, all the different Eternias, all the different universes. And this is cool because the outfit that he's wearing in the middle of this page is a version of the God Skeletor outfit that was worn in the 87 live action film. At the end of the movie when Skeletor and He-Man have their final battle. But in that movie, it was all gold that Skeletor wore. So this is cool. They took a little homage to that in here. So he's basically telling Keldor, he says, there will be an infinite number of souls to suffer. So sadly, the need for you, my father, and the kingdom of Eternals has come to an end. Goodbye, Uncle. And then you hear the melody play from the Cosmic Key. Dun, 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 dun. And here comes another He-Man. Various versions of He-Man. A Battle Cat that's a bipedal Battle Cat. All these different characters from these different universes. And this He-Man says, we've arrived as I taught you. He-Soul, Zack, Valiant, He-Ra, Platino, He-Woe. Engage the spirits. And this He-Man is the He-Man from the main universe that they did, that DC done.
Okay.
This is like their universe He-Man, because I can tell by the way his armor looks and his power sword looks. So this He-Man shows up. One He-Man that the anti-He-Man didn't get a hold of. So they show up to help. Here's the 80s He-Man, or Prince Adam showing up again. Keldor's like, Adam, how are you alive? And Adam looks at him and is like, I told Man-at-Arms about your portal fiddle. Man-at-Arms like, gravitonic tone manipulator. Adam's like, he whipped it up in 1 minute. And Orko's like, I helped him. So the other He-Man starts fighting. Anti-He-Man, he's fighting the spirits. Keldor's kind of just looking on, doesn't know what he's going to do. The 80s He-Man, the 80s Prince Adam, he changes to He-Man. Even though he did lose his power sword, he's got another power sword. I don't know where it comes from, but he does have another power sword.
Yeah, they're just lying around.
They're just lying around. You see in the bottom page all the variations of He-Man. They're fighting the evil spirits. They're shooting their powers from their power swords into it to help destroy it. Anti-He-Man, he's trying to pick himself back up from getting whooped on a little bit. And he's like, you little thieves, you want power? I'll give you power. So he takes his power sword, basically absorbs the Orb of Horrors power. And by doing so, not that it really absorbs it, but basically gives it more power. So he strengthens the spirits that the other He-Mans are fighting against, and it starts to absorb them inside of it. So, and he starts laughing. So Keldor jumps up behind him, grabs him from behind. He's like, my whole life I've been afraid to care about anything, about bettering myself in any way. Then his half of his power sword starts glowing because he's getting closer to Anti-He-Man's power sword as they're fighting like that. And it combines together. And Keldor says, I was becoming He-Man by the power of Grayskull. And then it says, by the goddess. And then you see at the bottom, I can have the power. Prince Keldor turned into a purple He-Man with black hair.
Looks weird.
It does look weird. It does. I want to say they made an action figure. I need to look at that up. If they did, I need that figure.
If it didn't look so thick, it wouldn't look so bad.
Yeah, I guess because it's a top-down look, I guess, you know. So he's become a He-Man for this universe. The evil spirits, they're almost breaking through that mirror. They're almost coming through that portal. The other He-Man, they're not able to stop them. Anti-He-Man comes up behind Keldor He-Man, we'll call him. Comes up behind him. He's going to basically take him out. Keldor He-Man says, I know what it was like, Anti-He-Man. 1,000 spirits flowing through your body. Anti-He-Man says, and soon they'll flow out of it, along with your blood. Die upon my black blade. Boom. Here comes Keldor He-Man's version of Battle Cat. Attacks Anti-He-Man, Keldor He-Man. Oh, Battle Panther is the name. Battle Panther, very cool. So Keldor He-Man takes his power sword, shoots power out of it at that mirror, at the portal that the evil spirits are coming out of, destroys it. Completely destroys it. traps the evil spirits on the other side so they're not able to come through. Anti-He-Man looks at him. He's like, what? What did you do? Keldor He-Man looks at him. He says, I held aloft a magic sword. I said the magic words, and the secrets of the universe were revealed to me. They're great weeping wounds that bleed darkness. And everybody, they start feeling what's happening. You know, that portal got shut down. The evil got cut off. So as that happens, the other anti-people, the anti-Tila and anti-Man-at-Arms, that evil anti-power starts leaving them. So they start becoming pure again. They start becoming good guys again. King Randor sees that, and he's like, whoa, like, stop fighting. You know, they're changing back. Well, anti-He-Man, because the evil power has been cut off, he changes back to Prince Adam. He's frail. He looks like he's 100 years old.
Yeah.
He is frail looking. And his black power sword starts to shatter. He's like, the chance to be something more than a bumbling, philandering prince. He's like, I know, Adam. I know. He dies in Keldor He-Man's hands. And a few days later, Keldor still got the half Skeletor face. That's not changed. But a few days later, it shows the Eternal Palace. And they're walking out, you know. And it's basically showing you all the different universes are back to normal or getting back to normal. 80s He-Man universe. Orko finally gets his own little holiday. Happy Orko-Loween. And
just rolls off the tongue.
It just rolls. Oh, God, yeah. I can't speak good now as it is. I'm trying to say that word. Prince Keldor, he's like, he gathered up the rest of the power swords and began assigning them to his personally chosen disciples to replace the ones he had forged. Those champions were sent to worlds ravaged by anti-He-Man to help rebuild their Castle Grayskull. So basically, he's goes back to the beginning of the comic book series where he was tagging the wall of King Randor, making fun of him. He decides, hey, you know, I think I'm going to straighten myself up. You know, I'm not going to be a lazy about kind of person. So he cleans it up. He paints back over top of it. Lynn gives him a big kiss. And he's like, well, if I'm honest, I'm a bit too busy studying magic to philander more than one woman at a time. Then you see Screech fly overhead, which is always a sign that something's going to happen. And Keldor holds aloft his magic sword. And he says, in fact, sometimes even Anti-Eternia needs a He-Man. And they run off to save the day.
Happily ever after.
Happily ever after. All right, Sean, so what did you think about that, man?
I thought it was pretty good. With not being a He-Man person, I thought it was written pretty good.
Yeah, Tim Seeley did a really good job, I think.
He got a little crazy with the exposition in that one.
Yeah, true.
But the art was great.
Yeah, definitely.
If you guys want to find it, it runs about $30 for the single issues. And then the paperback you can get around $15.
Yeah, when I looked up on mycomicshop.com on some of the prices for these single issues, I was blown away. They were that high.
$8 a piece. I'm like, whoa.
I'm like, I know He-Man is still relevant because they still make toys and stuff like that, but I'm like, damn.
Well, you said it was a 2020?
Nah, 2019 or 2020, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
it makes sense because a lot of those comics are going for more because of the pandemic.
Because of COVID stuff, okay.
Yeah. So I got shorted a bunch of issues, and I was going back to look at them, like some of them going for $20-$30.
I remember, yeah, because I mean, I was still collecting comics back then as evidence to this. I remember some of my IDW stuff. They sent me emails. Well, we're sorry, our delivery, blah blah blah, been delayed a few times. So I got a couple. I did get my books. I didn't get shorted like you did, but I know I had to wait a few extra weeks to get some of my comics because of the whole COVID situation back then.
Next episode, we're going to cover Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the very first issue.
Oh, hell.
Yeah, it's going down.
And what's cool about that is on that other podcast I listened to, the LaserCon podcast, they just did a commentary for the 1990 live-action movie.
That's cool.
So that's going to be pretty cool. Yeah. So Siege, Neo Cow, this next episode will be for you guys.
Heck yeah. All right, so we got one email we'll read, and then we'll discuss our next topic.
Just one. You listeners. No, I'm kidding. We love you guys. All right. This one is from Vampiro. Brush the bloody bits of battered bodies from your beards and behold my...
He did that shit unintentionally. I bet you anything. There's a lot of B's in that first sentence.
Brush the bloody bits of battered bodies from your beards and behold my banal bit of bemusement. Hey guys, Deadpool Kills Marvel Universe writer Cullen Bunn is never short of big ideas. turning Deadpool's fourth wall-breaking knowledge of being a comic book character into something Lovecraftian. The forbidden knowledge of what it truly means to be a popular fictional character driving Deadpool mad is quietly overshadowed by the mass slaughter of Marvel heroes. Well, that is true. Very true. Which brings me to the nerdiest nerd complaint I could think of. Where the hell is Spider-Man's Spidey sense just before his brains become confetti?
That's a very valid point.
He was distracted.
Well, it's supposed to kick in automatically.
He was stressed. I'm giving you one-word excuses because I don't know either.
Yep. I mean, there's no good answer for it.
Yeah, there is no good answer to that one.
Cullen Bunn has failed this book.
Vampiro, you need to find a way to contact Cullen Bunn, and you ask him what the hell happened to Spider-Man's Spidey sense at that moment when that gun come up and blowed him his head off. Yeah, man, I don't know. We really don't know. That's a good question because it didn't pop up in the comic. It was just, boom, Deadpool brings the gun up in the frame, shoots him basically through the chin, out the top of his head, and he's dead. Yep. There's no mention of Spidey sense, I don't believe, from Deadpool or Peter, either one. It just happens.
All right, so listeners, if you can name another time Spider-Man didn't use his Spidey sense, we want to hear about it.
Yeah, definitely. Write into us, or... That's the only way you can do it. Sorry. Write into us. Email us.
You can send a carrier pigeon. You can send...
snail mail.
Yeah, a telegram.
But yeah, no, I don't know because, again, Spider-Man's one of those characters I didn't read much about. But yeah, if any of the listeners out there, if you know of another time that Spider-Man's spider sense didn't work before he got hurt, whether it was... on his own or something caused it not to work or whatever, let us know because
in the bedroom doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, yeah, because now that one takes my breath away on that one because I didn't think about it. It's not mentioned in there at all in that comic at all because Deadpool, like I said, he just brings the gun up, blows his brains out, and Spidey's dead. So, but thank you, Vampiro, for bringing that to our attention. I didn't think nothing about it, man, when we were reading that comic like that. So that's a very good catch. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Vampiro, as always. If anybody else wants to write in, feel free to at geekswithbeardspod@gmail.com. You can hit us up on our Facebook, Geeks with Beards, or our Instagram, Geeks with Beards.
And we also have a Discord now.
Yes. We'll have links on that on all of our socials. I'll be putting it in the podcast description this week as well.
Yeah, Discord, it's a great place to be, to borrow a phrase from another podcaster. It's a poppin'. We've got some good members on there. It's a great place to come on there and just talk about anything you want to talk about. Music, games, comics, toys, television, anything you want to talk about. It's a safe place to be a nerd.
Instead of doing more questions this episode, we're going to talk about the new Deadpool Wolverine movie.
Spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, which I know it's been a couple of weeks since it's been out. But yeah, it's going to be a full spoiler review. So if you don't want to know anything about it, you can stop the podcast right now, go watch the movie, then come back and listen to us if you want to.
Yes. And then once you hear our stuff, if you want to send in your responses as well, we'd appreciate that.
Yeah. Any of our listeners that's watched the movie, please, send us emails, send us anything on Facebook, anywhere, even on the Discord, guys. What you think about it. I know a few of the Discord members, I know what they felt about it. They've expressed it on there, but anybody, even you guys that's already expressed what you thought about it, let us know more about it after you hear what we think about it. Because, again, these are our personal opinions. Nobody's opinions are right or wrong. This is just our personal feelings about it. So let us know what you guys thought about it.
All right, Dan. Deadpool and Wolverine.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I did. It's that crazy... turn my brain off, batshit crazy comic book movie.
It's a good popcorn movie.
It is definitely a good popcorn movie. Yeah. And I mean, I know a lot of superhero movies, they have the seriousness, and that's just in comic books in general, and that's totally fine. Mm-hmm. But with Deadpool, I know what to expect with Deadpool. There's going to be a little seriousness, but most of it's going to be just wacky crap.
Yeah.
It's just going to be fourth wall breaking. It's going to be jokes. It's going to be toilet humor. It's just going to be all kinds of shit, and I'm there for it. And this one, the fan service, yes.
Yeah.
I ate that shit up. I love the fan service. I loved all the cameos. It was great.
Yeah, the whole story itself, not bad.
Yeah, I mean, the plot is kind of... it's loose, I guess you would say, or thin, whatever you want to call it. And, he's got to save his universe from being destroyed.
Yeah. So it's a basic multiverse movie that we've seen 100 times now, but...
Well, that's what he chooses to basically do, because remember when he's approached by, what was his name again? I forgot his name. Damn British people, what was his name?
From the time variance?
Yeah, Paradox.
Yeah.
Paradox is telling him, hey, your universe is getting ready to end. Hey, you want to come to the sacred timeline? Come to 616? Just Deadpool. Doesn't offer anybody else. Just Deadpool. And on Deadpool, and it's like, okay, Marvel Jesus, or
because his dream, I think they touched on it a little bit before, that his dream was to be an Avenger.
Yeah, because you see that in the movie.
Yeah, and then they show it like when he's trying to, the guy's trying to recruit Deadpool.
Yeah.
He's showing all the Marvel movies behind him.
Yeah.
He's like, you can be part of this.
And Deadpool's just like, oh.
Oh, but my world has to end?
Yeah, because and it's weird because this is the first time I've ever heard of this. I don't know if you've ever read it in the comics or not, but anchor being. I don't know if that's just made for this movie or not. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But his anchor being was Wolverine, or Logan, who died in the Logan movie.
He deserved it.
Shut up. In 2017, that was his anchor being. And with his anchor being died, his universe is going to be destroyed.
I got a question about Logan before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
Was he killed by a clone?
Yes.
That's bullshit.
X-24? Younger Hugh Jackman?
I definitely don't want to see this movie now. All right, continue.
You haven't seen Logan?
No, I refuse to watch it.
You haven't? What?
Yeah.
Got to at least watch it in black and white.
Fuck that.
Fuck. Technically, a tree root through the heart, I think, killed Logan. But yeah, it was a clone.
You're not making it sound any
better.
better.
It was I think it was X-24. It was a younger version of Hugh Jackman.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
See, at first I thought it was just he got gunned down or something by somebody, but no, he gets...
Well, it was a mixture of different things. It was the adamantium poisoning, his age, this serum that he got that he took. And if you take it in little doses, it does help his healing factor kick in. But he takes it all at one time, which the kids that he's rescuing tells him not to do that, but he does it anyway at the end of the movie. He takes all of it at one time, and it jacks him up and heals him where he can fight for a while, but then he's coming off of it like a drug addict's coming down off the high. And he starts getting weaker, and his wounds start opening back up and starts bleeding. So on top of that, plus, the clone, and he impales him on a tree root or whatever, and then he dies at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I never really watched that movie. All right, so back to Deadpool.
That movie's amazing. You shut up. But anyway, so Deadpool, his anchor being, and they're going to destroy his universe. And then he finds out Paradox doesn't give a shit. Mm-hmm. Paradox don't want to save his universe. Paradox wants to end his universe quickly.
Paradox is an asshole.
He is. Now, is he just in this movie, or was he in any of the Marvel shows?
I've not finished the second season of Loki. He wasn't in the first season. The Time Variance Authority was, but...
Yeah, the TVA.
Yeah, because Loki, murders the being at the end of time, so to speak, and...
Is it that cloud creature in the Deadpool movie?
No, maybe it comes back as that. I don't know. Like I said, I still got to finish the second season.
Okay, yeah, I haven't watched any of the Marvel shows, guys. So.
Loki's amazing.
I've heard you talk about Loki quite a bit. Yeah. Basically, Paradox. He just wants to take over the TVA, and he created this. What do he call it? A Time Ripper. This machine, I believe, is what he called it. It was Time Ripper.
Yeah, it speeds it up.
It's because he's like, usually it takes like a couple of 1,000 years or whatever for a universe to die. Fuck that, Let's get it done in, a few days or a few hours or whatever.
I mean, I don't blame him. Get rid of the X-Men a little bit faster.
Well, a version of the X-Men, yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty good. But, so Deadpool basically, he's like, well, fuck that too, After he gets his new outfit and his adamantium swords and stuff, and... I thought it was pretty cool because then that's when we start going through our montages of Wolverines.
Did you see it in 3D?
I didn't watch it in 3D, no.
I didn't either, but it looks like at least that intro would have been kick-ass in 3D.
Yeah, I probably would have been. Yeah. No, I burnt myself out on 3D in the early 2000s with the Resident Evil movies and the Underworld movies.
Resident Evil was pretty good, though.
Those almost you had to watch in 3D. They didn't give you an option on most of those, so I kind of burnt myself out. But yeah, it's cool, man. Like he goes through those montages of the different Wolverines. Yeah. You get, what is it? You get Patch, Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, 4 foot tall Wolverine.
All right, so
4 foot tall Wolverine.
Yes, Wolverine is supposed to be 4 feet tall. Actually, he's supposed to be 5'4".
Yeah, you finally got your comic accurate Wolverine.
All right, it would have been it was almost perfect if they'd put him in the suit. It would have looked more right.
He looked too small.
Listen, that's because they make everybody else look like 7 feet tall.
Even in the comics, he don't look that little. This was a child.
Listen, he's supposed to be that small.
He came up to Deadpool's crotch if he's lucky.
Well, Deadpool's probably supposed to be like 4 inches shorter too.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
know. But that was cool. I like that.
I mean, you look at the comics where he's with Storm.
Yeah, he's probably what? At her chest, I guess?
Yeah.
Something like that.
See?
Well, yeah, but he's what, 5? You said 5'4", right? Supposed to be?
Yeah.
Storm's what? 6?
6'2" maybe.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, 6 inches. Almost a foot taller.
Hey, sometimes it makes a difference.
I mean, hey, I'm just saying. But yeah.
I'm just saying, that's part of his character. Next time, I'm making Superman 4'5", and you guys tell me it doesn't make a difference, all right?
No, because Superman's supposed to be 6 foot tall.
Oh, see?
Look, the size shouldn't matter. It's the performance.
Oh, okay.
Hugh Jackman's performance has been amazing for 20 years. I'm just saying.
All right. We'll get that Nicolas Cage Superman soon.
No.
Yeah. Hey, well, we actually did in The Flash.
Yeah. Oh, God, I don't want to talk about that movie.
Yeah, that was horrible.
The only thing good about that movie was Michael Keaton's Batman.
Yeah. He couldn't save it.
No, he couldn't save it, unfortunately.
Yeah, plot was all right. All the actors were good besides, Hugh Jackman even kind of did all right.
Yeah, and I get why. I was disappointed that they didn't use some of the characters from the Deadpool movies more, but I get it because he had to leave his universe to go save it and go to other stuff. So I get why they didn't. They tried to throw in a little drama with him and Vanessa.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, y'all didn't really have to put that in there. I mean, I get it. It's supposed to be an extra driving force to him shutting down and not being a hero anymore or whatever, besides the Avengers shutting him down. Okay. Cable's time traveling device. I thought it only was time traveling, not dimension hopping. But it gets him to 616.
Well, I don't know if that is 616. I think it's his own.
Did it not say that in the movie, though? Sacred Timeline? I thought it said 616. Did it not?
It may have.
Or did it just say Sacred Timeline? Siege, you know this, man. Remind me, because I can't remember.
Yeah.
You've seen the movie, too, so remind me,
I always
man.
thought it was a different universe. But yeah, you might be right.
Well, that's what one dude at work said. He said, I think 616. It's something else. I'm like, well, I could have sworn it was, but maybe I'm mistaken.
Might be 618.
I don't remember.
Something close.
But, I mean, I get why they put it in there, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
You didn't really have to put it in there, I guess. I mean, I appreciate them doing that because I love her character.
She's awesome.
Yeah, I love her character. I loved her in Firefly. It's the first time I ever seen her character was in Firefly.
I loved her in Gotham.
Oh, yeah, I forgot she was in Gotham, yeah. She was kind of mean to Gordon, though.
Well, he deserved it. He was an asshole.
He was protecting Gotham City, damn it. This was before Batman came up.
All she wanted was a date.
And that's true, too, yeah. That's true, too, yeah.
I will say, Cassandra Nova.
Yeah.
I popped like hell when she showed up. I'm like,
did you?
It's Cassandra.
Yeah, I thought you would.
Yeah.
Because you hadn't watched any trailers for this, did you?
No,
Nothing.
I went in cold turkey.
You knew nothing about it.
And that made it so much better.
Yeah, dude. I didn't. The only thing I knew about it, because I did watch trailers, I can't help myself. I knew her. I knew Sabretooth. I knew Pyro.
It was the original Sabretooth as
yes,
well.
Yes, it was.
Like,
yeah.
that's awesome.
That should have been a bit longer fight. Instead of just Deadpool. Instead of just Wolverine decapitating him, it should have been a longer fight.
Well, they had so much going on in that movie.
I know. And we got a Furiosa.
I mean, you had like 15 fights with Wolverine. So
yeah, that's true. And then you got like a little Furiosa nod when Deadpool's holding up Sabretooth's head, But yeah, I knew about all of them, but I didn't know. I popped with Blade. That was my big pop.
That was the best. Well, him and Gambit were my two favorite cameos.
Yeah, because Mom loves Blade. She watched all 3 of the Blade movies. Mom loves Blade. She loves Wesley Snipes as Blade. So Mom went to watch the movie with me, and I'm sitting there and I nudge Mom as soon as he comes on. I'm like, Mom, look, it's Blade. She's like, it ain't really Wesley. I'm like, yeah, Mom, it's Wesley. I said, look, and she's like, what the hell? I said, I know, right? I said, hell yeah. That was my big pop.
Yeah.
Garner was cool to see back as Elektra, and Channing as Gambit, I have to say, was really good.
He was great.
He was.
Yeah.
He was. He's really good. I watched the video last night. I think on lunchtime. It was Instagram or Facebook one, and it was a video, and basically the headline on the video said, oh, you didn't think he trained for this. And it shows a video montage of him actually training. He was training with the bow staff. He was training in full get-up to do all the action scenes they did in the movie. So, yeah, Channing Tatum actually did train for this movie. He didn't just go in and put costume on and pretend. He actually did do physical training for it and fight training for it.
I think if they just would have tweaked his headpiece a little bit, it would have been spot on perfect. Like,
yeah, it might have
costume-wise.
pinched his face a little too much, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like it was squeezed in there, but
Yeah, but overall, it looked good, though.
Or just gave him longer hair. That might help fix it too.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Definitely comic book accurate almost.
Yeah,
And that suit was really close.
yeah, it was.
But yeah, no, I thought you would pop for Cassandra because I remember you loved her in the comics.
Dude, yeah, she's such a great villain, and she
Yeah.
pulled it off. The actress pulled it off in
Yeah.
this movie. It was great.
Because I remember some of the books she let me borrow years ago. She was a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool, like, she's Cassandra Nova of a Xavier. We don't know which Xavier,
Yeah.
but a Xavier. And
I
which,
was assuming it was his Xavier.
Deadpool's?
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't know, because I know Wolverine says to her, he's like, my Charles would have like broke down the universes to find you if he knew you were alive or something. So I thought it might have been Wolverine's Xavier. But that
Maybe.
well, she's in the voice, so she doesn't know what's going on. I don't
True.
guess she has no idea, and that's weird too. It's like she supposedly made a deal with Paradox to just rule over the void or something like that. I guess basically or whatever. So yeah, that was cool. Pyro was okay. They said that one was supposed to be Toad, but I don't think it was supposed to be. I don't think it was Ray Park though. I think it was just somebody
You sure?
playing Toad.
It looked like him.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just remember seeing him go by in the truck.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was Ray Parker. It'd been cool if it was. He didn't do
been sick.
much. He didn't do much.
Well,
but-
he has that tendency in his movies. I mean, just look at Darth Maul.
yeah, that could have been a better fight too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love the movie. I love all the cameos, and I love the Deadpool poking jokes at Disney. You know, the pegging jokes, and he made a couple of cancel culture jokes, and you know, I think he made a couple of woke jokes. He might have not have. I remember for sure he did say something cancel wise, because when Cassandra Nova first shows up, she's in Charles's chair, I think his wheelchair,
Oh, yeah.
and Deadpool says something like, "Oh, the cancel culture's not gonna be happy about this," or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was funny.
It's good.
And then he tells Wolverine, basically, like, "Yeah, you're coming in at a low point."
Yeah. Yeah.
Talking about Marvel's low point of movies, and you know,
Well, he could be also talking about Fox's.
oh, where they got could. That's true too. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, no, but yeah, I love this movie. I love everything about it. I love the fan service. Yeah, the plot's thin, but that's fine.
Yeah, it didn't need a really big plot.
That's fine. And I've heard a couple people say and stuff that Deadpool does need kind of a straight guy to kind of bounce off of, and that is kind of true. Even in the comic books, he's always got somebody to kind of bounce off of. Usually.
They need to bring Madcap, because that would be perfect for the movies. If they did like Venom,
Yeah, I think that would be one of the only ways you could do Deadpool mainly by himself in the movie would be Madcap, so he could have the going back and forth in his head like that. Yeah,
that'd be great.
but no, I love it, and I know a lot of people out there, and I know you've probably watched some of them. I haven't cared for Marvel's movies since Endgame, except for Thor 4 and Guardians 3. That's all.
Thor 4 is garbage.
That's all I've watched. I like
Guardians
it.
3 is amazing.
Yeah.
The Marvels wasn't as bad as everybody says.
Okay, I mean that's totally fine. It's just it's just characters I don't really care about to watch. I'm not interested in those characters. And no, it ain't got nothing to do with them being women before anybody decides to think of that.
I know you like Thor, so
I thought Thor 4 was pretty good.
it's horrible.
Well, I mean, they adapted the story.
They didn't adapt shit.
They kind of did. I mean,
No.
in the comics, she did die of cancer in the comics because of her transformation back and forth. So, I mean, they at least put
But
that
she
in
like
there.
defeated the Asgardian like baddie.
She helped him defeat a god killer.
It's just butchered that story, man.
It wasn't. Yeah, out of the 4 Thor movies, it's not the best. I still.
It's a leftover '80s rom-com, is what it is.
Yeah, and whether it's true or not, I remember seeing something online. It may be false. I don't know, but Hemsworth said if he did come back for another Thor, he wanted to do more serious again.
That's the way Thor should be.
Well, yeah, but I remember him saying with 3 that it was the first time he had fun playing Thor. So,
Yeah, well, it's okay every now and then.
Are you backtracking on what you said about,
I mean,
Or-
if you get to the point like where they just strip him naked in front of a whole bunch.
That is true. Yeah, they did a little. Yeah, I think Taiki did go a little too
It's
far.
like we're
with
going
some of it.
Superman 4 on this sucker.
Well, Russell Crowe was was it
Zor-El?
whatever Zeus. No, it was Zeus. Wasn't that Zeus he played in the movie?
Oh, and yeah, sorry.
In Thor 4?
I was thinking Superman.
Yeah, he
But
played. Yeah, he
Thor.
played Zeus. Yeah.
Yeah, Russell Crowe was Zeus.
So yeah, I think Taiki did go a little far with some of the humor in the
was too
4th
much.
one. Yeah. So I get
Especially
what
with
he's
that
saying.
serious of a topic, you know?
I get and plus they they did do a little goofiness with Thor too when they made him Fat Thor. So.
Well, that was kind of funny. But that was Guardians, too.
That
as
was
well.
Guardian stuff, too, yeah. Yeah, this movie it kind of made me excited for Marvel movies again.
Yeah.
Watching the trailer for the new Captain America movie, even though I haven't watched Captain America and Winter Soldier TV show,
It was pretty good, actually.
the movie looks really nice. I like the way this movie looks. Again, to me, it feels like that first 10 years of movies when they were knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
And I watched every single movie from the first Iron Man all the way to Endgame. I watched every single movie for that 10-year run.
Yeah, same.
Even Captain Marvel, and that was just because I got a ticket bought for me.
I like the first Captain Marvel.
It's okay.
It's because she's a female.
It's not because she's a female.
You're canceled.
Not because she's a female. I don't know. I don't know. She just fell flat for me for some reason. I don't know.
I will say about the Deadpool movie, the only complaint I have is the ending and sub-credit ending. Because it didn't
there's
lead
not
you
much to
nowhere.
it.
Yeah.
Well, but I think though that's what they wanted to do. I don't think they wanted to connect it to anything.
Well, actually, at least give us a taste of what's to come, you know?
Well, we saw Thor holding him and crying, so maybe that's something.
That'd be funny if it's... I gotta say, too, they leaked all these people playing Wolverine things. I wonder if that's going to be in the special edition.
It might be. Oh, yeah, remember, we did get a cameo of Henry Cavill as Wolverine.
Yeah, so we technically have...
Cavalrine.
Cavalrine. He looked pretty good.
He did look pretty good.
Still too tall.
Oh, and the other one they did, where Wolverine's on the X. Now they
the cross.
Yeah, the cross. They
Yeah.
said that was a famous comic book cover.
It was.
Okay, see, I know nothing. Okay, they said that was a famous comic book cover. They were homaging on that.
It was.
Okay, cool.
It's almost exactly like that, too.
Even the skulls and all that stuff
Yeah.
like that. Okay, hell yeah, dude.
We'll post pictures of them because the patch one was a cover, too.
Yeah. Oh, and then the yellow brown Wolverine with the Hulk with the blades coming up and
Yeah.
reflecting the Hulk and the blades. Yeah.
I heard they were going to try to do a Wolverine Hulk movie.
I mean, he did say till you're 90. So
God, I hope not.
That would be cool. I'm interested to see, like in that Captain America movie, how they handle Red Hulk.
Yeah.
That's gonna be kind of cool how
That'd
they
be
handle
cool.
Red Hulk and
I love Red
how
Hulk.
Harrison Ford does
They said
Ross, General Ross, or President Ross. So
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I wish they would kept him general, but
did he? I wonder if he went president in the comic books at any time. I wonder.
I don't know. We'll have to look into that.
But yeah, overall, I love the movie. Basically, and it ends with Deadpool back in his universe. I forgot, was it 1 1000079 or 1000089 or something?
Is that where it spells boobs upside down?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
That's what they should have did.
Yeah.
6,006 or 6,068.
Something like that.
Whatever it
yeah.
is.
But yeah, basically it ends with Deadpool's back in his universe and he's with all of his friends again, Peter and Vanessa, and there's a possible love rekindling there between those two. And he's got Wolverine and X-23 with him and Dogpool. So he brought Wolverine and back with him.
And all the other people too, right? Blade and Electro and
Well, were they? I thought they got left in the void when him and Logan went through Doctor Strange's portal that
Yeah,
Cassandra
I
used.
think you're right.
Because they were watching them.
they do show them.
Yeah, I don't
at the
know.
end.
See, I've heard a couple of people say they thought they died. They didn't show it on screen if they did. Granted, I know that.
No, I
That
thought
creature-
they showed them all together after that. Like,
Did they?
I thought so.
Damn, I don't remember.
We're going to have to rewatch it.
I've slept since then, but I didn't think they showed them again. They might have.
Some of them died, but I thought the rest of them.
I know. I remember seeing Blade, Gambit, Elektra, and X-23 living. Well, yeah, because X-23 was still with them when they went through that Doctor Strange portal, so they had to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think Blade and Gambit was with them at the end of the scene, at the end of the movie, I don't think. I think it was just Wolverine and X-23 sitting at the table.
They might not have been Deadpool's universe, but I thought I showed them.
Okay, they might have been. I hope
maybe
so.
On the Void. We'll find out.
Yeah, I hope so, because I know there's supposedly, again, this is all just rumors, but supposedly people are kind of champion Snipes to stay Blade, and I'm gonna butcher his name, but I don't mean to. Marshala, is that how you say it? Marasha.
I don't know.
But the new guy, I'm sorry I can't pronounce his name. That's supposedly going to be playing Blade again one of these days, whenever it happens. I read something that supposedly that they're wanting Snipes to either stay Blade and the new guy get kicked out, or do something with Snipes in the Blade universe again somehow.
I wish they'd keep Wesley Snipes, but I don't know how long he can keep doing it. I
Yeah.
mean, they could dye his hair and de-age him and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But...
Well, I mean, damn, they're bringing Robert Downey back for Doctor Doom, apparently, so.
Oh, gosh. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, it's the whole infamous Iron Man thing. Remember that comic?
I forgot about that.
Yeah. It's kind of the whole. I think that might be what they're
So
going to
you
do.
think he's coming from a different universe?
I think it's going to be a variant, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a variant, yeah. That's what I think.
That wouldn't be so bad.
Or it could be Marvel and the Russos, just like, no, he's going to be an Iron Man. We just fooled you at Comic-Con.
That would be fun.
That'll piss some people off.
I'd love that.
But I think if he does stay as Doctor Doom, he would make a good Doctor Doom. Because just his personality and the amazing Tony Stark that he did, and the amazing Sherlock Holmes that he did for 2 films, that I love those 2 movies.
Yeah.
I think as a Doctor Doom, he'd be great as a Doctor Doom.
Well, he's a great actor anyway.
He is.
Sherlock
he
Holmes.
is. He's a great. Oh God, those Sherlock Holmes movies are amazing.
All right, folks, we're going to have to cut this a little bit short.
Your neighbor is mowing his daggum yard again.
Yeah, this is the first time we've experienced this. So, we thank everybody for joining us.
We do. We appreciate everything. And like I said, anybody's got their opinions on this movie, please share them with us. Emails or on our Discord or our Facebook page or Instagram page. Anybody that has any history with He-Man, whether it was toys, cartoons, comic books, same thing. Share it with us, man. Let us know what's going on out there, guys.
All right. Thank you, everybody. If you want to get in contact with us, you got the information already.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. We'll catch you on the next one.
Geeks with beards. Geeks with beards. Look who's here. Geeks with beards. No need to fear. We're right here. We got beards. So listen clear. Geeks with beards. Geeks with beards. Look who's here. Geeks with beards. No need to fear. We're right here. I'm in your ear, so listen clear. No one else doing it like us. Also, we just might cuss, just cause. No, we ain't playing, and we're just saying, and we're making a podcast. It's cool.